Welcome. I'm going to explain the gauge display plot in this video. So the gauge display is located here in the bottom left corner of the where you have plot types, summary, and then we have gauge display. So like most of the other summary plots, you have to pick a parameter or a statistic. And so what I will do is I'm going to show a simple case of using this tack signal to do the gauge. Now the gauge display can display many traces per plot, but it's in certain cases that makes sense, but a lot of times it's going to become confusing because there's not enough real estate to really label what is what. But one use would be for displaying a tack. And so what I did is I picked the tack and then gauge display, and then what it has is some default scaling based on the max RPM or tack value you had. It shows the channel name and the units as shown here. And so this is just one channel named tack. And we see it has an arrow, the indicator that points to the location of the current value. Now some of this text is running into it, and it's not probably what you want for displaying a tack to see a decimal point there. So, but let me just show you how this looks when the data is moving before I show you how to set it up to look a little nicer. So what I'm doing is I'm moving the simulated tack signal up in frequency so you can see it goes up in value. If it goes off the chart, it does not display the signal or the line. That's how it's intended to work currently. So I'm just kind of rolling the frequency down. Now, so to get this to look a little better, what we can do is we basically can adjust all of the angles and scaling or precision of these values. So what you need to do for that is go to the setup panel, and this plot's pretty unique, and so it has its own tab here in the setup panel named gauge. And I'm going to try to keep this on let me go here. I'm going to move this up and do the setup here and then pull this panel down so you can see what I'm doing. So I went back to the gauge tab and the setup panel, and the first thing is I don't like having these 2 decimal points. That's the default, but this, if I can take those out if I need to. So the value precision is now has 0. It's just to the ones place. So this, for a tack signal, you probably want to look at something like this. Now you can also scale the size of the font up and down depending on how large the number is here. That you might need to move this down to make it look pleasing, so you can make those adjustments as needed. Then we have, so here we have the 0 is the min on the plot, and then 30,000 is the max. So these are here, so I don't know why you would do that for a tack, but you could put it at some minimum. Maybe you don't care about it until it gets above a certain value. It's 3,000 RPM to 30,000. We can adjust the max up as well to whatever is needed. So that's this top area is really related to getting the values and the min and max for those values adjusted properly. The bottom area here we have division, start angle, and delta angle. So what this does is we have divisions is number of divisions we're dividing out between the min and the max. So the default is 20. You can move that up or down, and you can see it's adding in more divisions across the circumference of this gauge. And then you can so kind of have to play with these to get what you want as far as making it readable and viewable. But as this plot size, if I zoom in on this plot, it should keep let me just apply this, keep the the relative scaling the same. So you can see it shrinks it down. So let me go back to the setup panel and continue to explain these. So that was division, so we can adjust number of divisions. Now the start angle is where the min value starts. So it's defaulted to this 6 o'clock position at where we see the 3000 at 90 degrees. So I can tweak that up and move it a degree at a time, and just effectively this is just rotating the gauge around. So we'll put that back at 90. And then delta angle is essentially scaling out the min and the max across, and it should stop. Well, I don't know why you would do that, but it stops right at 360. You probably want to put it something less than that. But these adjustments are in there because there's so many ways you could show, depending on what value you're looking at, what you want to do, that you can, you might want to put a certain value right at 12 o'clock. So if we said 9800 is the normal speed, then we could set it like that, and we zoom in, and then sometimes people do this to see. All right, so when it gets up there, everything's pointed up as normal. So kind of another way to little trick for this plot. That's basically it with this plot. The only other thing real quickly I want to show is, let me just get rid of everything here. I got too much going on. And I want to show, if I did, for example, many traces per plot, it could be useful if you're looking at, let's say, DC values, and you had 16 of them. That's how many we have. And you want to kind of see it. You're putting, let's say, the same signal into all of them. So if you did a gauge display in there, see, there's only so much real estate to show what channel is what. But we could, if I put this simulator, set everything to a similar value, you could kind of see if there's any outliers. If everything's supposed to be at 0, you put in 0 volts and just kind of want to check that everything's at 0. You could pretty easily see that everybody's at 0, and if anybody's off, I can show you that. But it's really not for showing many traces or many signals on a plot. It's really for 1 or 2, and because I can only really show basically 4 legends here, and so that's the gauge plot.